What a throw by Patrick Mahomes.
Tyrone Matthew with the big hit. Mostert out of nowhere.
A perfect pass from Jimmy Garoppolo. The Chiefs, the 49ers, are big game bound.
We are live from Radio Row. A beautiful day in Miami. The sun is out once again, so are Jarrett's guns. And we got a great show lined up for you today on Big Game Bound here. Jarrett Payton, I'm Jack Doles, and we've got a great guest to kick things off right away, David Deal.
Yeah, David Deal, one of my favorite offensive linemen. Listen, as a running back, you got to have those guys up front that take care of you and the quarterback. So talking to him about not just running the ball, but today, quarterback focus.
Yeah.
Jack.
Yeah.
We got to talk about quarterbacks, especially with the two that are playing in this big game.
The first thing I want to talk about, though, Nick, can you get that camera over here real quick? we got to show off the Super Bowl
hardware.
rings. All right, so David Deal won 2 Super Bowl championships, and as you can see, he's got one on the pinky.
This is 46, and that's 42. I got the offensive line hands. That's why if anybody wants to know why they're on those 2 fingers. But when you're getting sized up for a Super Bowl ring, you have the right to put it on any damn finger you want to put it on.
That is true. That is true. I mean, when you think about those championships and being here at the Super Bowl, you get a chance to wear those.
Yeah.
You get to flex them a little bit to the people out there to show them. But how you guys went about getting both of those rings was special.
It definitely was. I mean, obviously, a lot of those memories were just brought back with Eli Manning retiring last Friday from the NFL. And, you know, it's such a great thing, and it's such a awesome experience to get back together with each other like we did last Friday, because that hug, that embrace is a little second longer. The smiles, the relationships that we have, the bond and the brotherhood that we have, it's something that nobody can ever take away from you. So when we were all there for Eli Manning, you know, current players that are still on the Giants, you know, players that I played with and that played with Eli Manning, and even Giants greats like Phil Simms or Harry Carson, everybody that came back, it just truly showed you the impact that he's had not only on the Giants organization, but on all of our lives as well.
So, David, I want to ask you, I'm quarterback focused, but you played with Eli, and one of the big debates you hear right now is he a Hall of Famer? Your reaction, A, to that debate, and then B, is he a Hall of Famer?
I think if it's even a debate, it's comical. I mean, and I'm not saying that because I have a bias, which I do, but the reason why I'm saying that is when you talk about a player who's played 16 seasons for one organization, that had started 222 straight games, won at the biggest times and the biggest moments, and was that clutch player. We always talked about quarterbacks. Well, in order to get in, you need that Super Bowl. Well, he's got 2 of them. Well, you need that Super Bowl MVP. He has 2 of them. And I'm going to give you a list of stats. I've been prepared for this since this. I'm going to give you a list of stats about Eli Manning's career. Now, I'm not going to mention Eli's name. After I mention these stats, if you could sit there with a straight face and say this isn't a resume of a Hall of Fame player, I don't know what is. 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 8 postseason wins, which are as many as Steve Young, 106 completions in the 2011 postseason are the most in NFL history. He threw for 1,200 yards in 11 in the postseason. He's got 5 game-winning drives in his postseason career. That's the same amount as Joe Montana, 1 more than Terry Bradshaw. 4 fourth-quarter comebacks in the playoffs, which ties John Elway for the most. 222 consecutive starts, including the playoffs, and he's 7th all-time in passing touchdowns in passing yards. Now, if that's not a Hall of Fame resume, I don't know what is. But all of a sudden you put Eli Manning by it. Well, it's a debate. There's no debate when you read stats. Stats aren't about how you feel about a player. It's not about the personal side. It's about numbers and analytics, and those numbers back up a Hall of Fame career.
Everybody wants to talk about big-time players and big-time games. They step up. That's the one thing. I was at both of those Super Bowls. Some of the biggest throws that you've ever seen in the big-time game, he made them. He stepped up when you needed him to. And to me, there's no debate, Jack. There's no debate. You beat – not only that, you beat the Patriots 2 times where everybody was talking about, oh, this is the greatest team, especially in the first opportunity. This man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Just by what David just said, his stats show he should be there.
David, we just talked stats, but what made him a quarterback that you wanted to go to battle for?
Well, number one, accountability. When you talk about a quarterback of all positions out there for every single play, every single practice, every single Sunday, you not only earn the respect of the guys in the offense, but you earn the respect of guys like Antonio Pierce, like Michael Strahan on the defensive side of the ball, because now all of a sudden you're not just a football player or a quarterback, you're a football player. And when people believe and buy into that and know that you're going to be there and you're held accountable just like everybody else, that's what allowed him to rise up to the challenge when we had tons of personalities on our offense. You played with Jeremy Shockey, who we both played with, Plaxico Burress. Those guys are personalities. Every play they were coming back after a pass. I was open. No, you weren't. You were double coverage. Get back in the huddle. He had that respect. And when we had our offensive line really rolling, we had, I think, 60 consecutive starts together, our group. We used to have a competition. If we could get the alert, the protection check out, the play out before him, we beat him once in that entire stretch about getting the alert out. He'd see a safety like a split step over. Alert, alert, alert. How the hell did you see that? But the way that he studied film and prepared, that's what showed up. And it wasn't just in practice. It was in the biggest moments. Super Bowl 46, we're playing up against the New England defense. That opening drive and that opening start of that game in the first half, they're playing the 3-4 defense. We start getting the run game going with Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs, start getting play action passing going. And if you remember, that first touchdown to Victor Cruz was off of play action. Mm-hmm. So we go in at halftime. We start making our adjustments as a team. The first play of our opening drive in the second half, the defense for the Patriots line up in 3-4, and all of a sudden you hear, move. They stemmed from a 3-4 to a 4-3 stack. If you're not a prepared quarterback or a young quarterback, you can't do what Eli Manning did. He stepped back, whoa, 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 check, 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 alert, 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 put us in plays that were successful up against that 4-3 defense until we could come off to the sidelines and regroup. If that's not our quarterback, if he's not our guy out there, we're not winning Super Bowl 46.
Bring some energy here. We want to bring, David, this is J.B. Buno. He is the wizard.
He's the wizard.
He makes it
Sprinkle
happen.
some of
We
that.
go back a long time,
Albany, New York, man. I love it. The Great Danes. Big shout out to my Great Danes, man. I absolutely love you guys at the University of Albany. Yeah, I remember interviewing you, David.
Yeah.
You were a great interview, and you still are a great interview, clearly.
Apparently I
oh,
lost
man,
something.
I absolutely love it. Let's get to our featured topic of the day.
Okay.
If you've been following us on Twitter, if you've been following us on Facebook, everybody, we are not asking which quarterback is better between Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy Garoppolo. That would be probably pretty one-sided, though don't tell that to the folks in San Francisco. We are asking the question, which quarterback needs to have the bigger game on Sunday to be victorious, to become a Super Bowl champion? So here it is on Twitter, everybody. We'll bring it up here on your screen. We asked it to you on the Big Game Bound Twitter account, and there are the results. Patrick Mahomes winning with 57% against Jimmy Garoppolo getting 42%. You guys shaking your
Jared, I'll
heads.
let you go first.
I don't agree with that. I believe that we know what Patrick Mahomes is all about. We know what we've seen, especially from last year, MVP season, to now leading this team to a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo comes into this game after really not throwing the ball at all in the NFC Championship game. To me, he's got to have the bigger game for his team to win. He's going to have to be lights out. There's going to be times where you're not going to be able to run the ball, or they stop the run, which we know San Francisco is good at. That means they're going to take it 8, 9 men in the box. They're going to say, listen, Jimmy, you're going to have to beat us with your arm. He's going to have to be like you were talking about Eli, focused enough, which we know he is, coming from New England and being around Tom Brady and Belichick, to be able to dissect how to make the big-time throws when he needs to.
I'm going to be the heel. I'm going to play the WWE heel here because I'm going to be opposite of you. The reason why I say that is number one, going into this game, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the football more than Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's where there's that risk more on his side. And when you really think about the way that Jimmy Garoppolo has come through this postseason, when he's needed to throw it, he has. Yeah. Think about the games up against the Seattle Seahawks or the New Orleans Saints. So when that time has come, when he needs to arise, he has done that. The magic number for Jimmy Garoppolo is 275. When he's thrown for 275 yards or more, they're 10-0 this season.
And I want to ask a question about that because a lot being made on Radio Row this week about Jimmy Garoppolo only throwing 8 passes in the championship game. In your opinion, David, when it comes to rust factor, not throwing that many passes in that game, and of course that going into the early round. You're shaking your head, JP. You don't think overblown,
JP,
right?
It's overblown, man. We're talking about a starting quarterback who we know what he's about. You saw, and I said it before, about the relationship that he built with Tom Brady and also being around there, what he knows. He's got his team to this point. We know he can throw the football. Sometimes the game plan is dependent on what is working. The run game was working in the NFC Championship game. Why go away from it? If the defense can't stop you, we don't need to force it and throw the football. They can run the football. To me, they've been the most balanced team offensively and defensively. But now my thing is can Kansas City stop what they're trying to do? And if they stop the run game, now that means he's going to have to throw just a little bit more.
And the Giants had some really great running backs too. Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Way back when.
Absolutely. And you know, this is a very familiar situation that I'm looking at because Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, was our defensive coordinator for both Super Bowl runs. The one thing that does worry me about the Kansas City Chiefs defense, they fit up and matched great up against the Tennessee Titans. I don't think they match up as well up against the San Francisco 49ers. If you look at the way that the 49ers dialed up and made sure that they showed the inconsistencies of the Green Bay Packers defense up against the run, look at how they started. Inside zone, power, pulling their backside guard. They forced that Green Bay defense to play down into the box. Now you've got Mostert, who's a 4-3 guy, the jet sweeps, Deebo Samuel. They started hitting the perimeter. At that point, they had the Green Bay Packers on their heels. The reason why for this game I still think that's rolling, think about the games that they ran for over 200 yards, and they didn't have Mike McGlinchey, Kyle Juszczyk, or Joe Staley in that game. So when you can manipulate a game plan and a rushing attack like his dad did in this same stadium when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos, Alex Gibbs, their O-line coach, it's the same type of scheme. It's the same type of running scheme. So with that said, that's why I don't think it's as risky for Jimmy Garoppolo, because I don't think he's going to be able to be forced into where it's going to be a shootout. I think they're going to be successful running the football up against the Chiefs defense.
Jared, I want to know, how is he not the analyst on Monday Night Football?
I'm just telling you. No, if you want to know about the game, you want to know about you got to talk to offensive linemen. They're the smartest guys on the football field, man. They see everything. They have to know everything. And so that's my question.
Yeah.
You see how this is all going to play out. You got two quarterbacks. For Mahomes, how hard is it for an offensive lineman to be able to block for a guy like Mahomes who not only can throw the ball but also is good with his legs?
You made a great point, because when I watch a football game, I never watch the football. Figure I played O-line 20 years of my life. I never knew where the ball was. The ball was always behind me. The way that the offense and the defense moves, that's what tells me where the play develops and where the ball is going to go. So when I watch a game, I take a quick look at the up front. I scan all the way back, and when the ball snapped, okay, cover one, cover three, cover two, I whip right around to the line of scrimmage, because I can determine right away what's happening. So I watch the game through a different lens, and that's how I watch it anytime I look at it. So truly, when you block for a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, it's not that difficult. The reason why is because a defense is playing zone coverage on the back end. He's going to improvise. He's going to buy a little time for that window to open to hit his elite receivers in that pocket, because he has the arm strength to do it, sidearm, over the top, or off platform. He reminds me of a shortstop, the way that you watch him play the quarterback position. And you obviously know the background with his dad definitely plays into the way that he plays the game of football, because his eyes are always downfield. He throws the ball to points lower down on the ground, upper, to where only his receivers get it. Now you play man on the back end. Okay, I'm going to buy outside of the pocket. I'm going to look for my one-on-one. If you don't have somebody spying and you don't get home with your rush, I'm tucking in and I'm gone.
That's it.
Think about the touchdown that he had right before the end of the half up against the Titans. They had Kelsey double covered, they had Hill double covered, and they had a spy on him, and it still did not matter. So as an offensive line, which I truly can say this is the best group the Kansas City Chiefs have had in a long time, their right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz, this is the best season he's had in his career. the continuity of that group has shown up together in this game. So when you're thinking about a Patrick Mahomes, it's one thing to be a Fargo quarterback compared to a Patrick Mahomes. We always used to say Fargo, I'll take out what the F is, around till somebody gets open. That's what a Fargo quarterback is. You see them buying time, they're running all over, they're scrambling. He has a precise reason on why he's doing it.
So which plays got your juices going more, when they called the run or they called the pass? Which one did you prefer to do?
I wanted to run the football because you want to take the will away from the defensive ends. You want to impose your will on those guys because in the third and fourth quarter, they don't want to play the run. They want to get after the quarterback. Think about it. A defensive end, I could kick his butt for 69 plays, but that one play I gave up a sack, he had a great game in his eyes. He got the production number that he wants.
True. Yeah.
That's the life that you live as an offensive lineman. So you know that those hits on those guys are cumulative because now all of a sudden in the third and fourth quarter, that run that may have only been 2, 3, 4 yards and a cloud of dust in the beginning, those start become home run hitters in the fourth quarter, and you're wearing them down trying to get after the quarterback.
Last question. You're an Illinois kid. You
Yeah,
got Jared
Chicago
Payton
guy.
sitting right here.
I know.
What did his dad mean to you?
You know what? His dad meant everything to me and still means everything to me. You know, growing up on the south side of Chicago, I met his father when I was 7 years old at the Boys and Girls Club on the south side. There was a surprise to us. We didn't know he was going to be there. He was throwing footballs. He was there with us for like 2 hours. And I always said to myself, if I make it to the NFL, that's how I want to be. I want to be like my hero. I want to make sure I take time and spend time with kids. Make sure I bring out that smile. Give somebody, you never know whose life that you can affect in a positive way. I showed you tomorrow's guaranteed to nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Live life to the fullest. Be a positive impact on people's lives. And, you know, still to this day, I got my 34 tattoo on me for his dad. I showed you the shoes and everything that I have. You know, he just was that moment and that person for me growing up, working hard. My identity was I don't want to be the same kid on the south side of Chicago telling the same BS story that why I'm still here. I want to move on and make something bigger of myself.
Dude.
Amazing to have you.
I can only imagine what kind of teammate you were, sir. Goodness gracious.
Thank you.
You make me want to run through a wall
Damn
right now.
Let's do it.
So, Dave, we have to bring in Lee Steinberg.
Okay.
But while he's coming in, would you mind showing Nick that 34 tattoo if it's in a spot?
I got my whole thing out
All
of
right,
it.
we won't
I'll
do
send
that.
you a picture.
Send
I
me a
got you.
picture. Appreciate you,
You got
Jared.
it, man.
Thank you.
Take care, Jared.
All right, man. Awesome, man.
Jared, how fun is it to hear
It's-
that about, you know, what the impact your dad made?
It's just amazing because the respect that I have for David is amazing, and then to know that he got that from my dad and that be inspired by him. And so it's just it goes full circle, man. It goes full circle, and especially with this guy sitting down next to us right now.
We have one of the best in the business right now. Lee Steinberg joins us. Lee, I just start off telling you, I read your book before one of my own contract negotiations.
Good.
And it was fantastic. It put me in a great frame of mind. How do you go in to an agent when you're sitting down with a team? What's your battle? Your battle plan as you sit down with those teams to fight for your client and do the best for your client? Because one of your clients is Patrick Mahomes.
You need to have good listening skills so that you can put yourself in the heart and mind of the other person. So you need to see the world the way they look at it, not from your own perspective. So you need to be well prepared in terms of emphasizing the best qualities. Usually negotiations consist of comparables, which are who's this player like, but so much of it is to understand the other person's position, what the pressures are on them. How do you craft a win-win situation where you do well for your client, but the other side walks away also fulfilling their goals?
You look at some of the names that you've represented throughout the years, and some of the great quarterbacks. There's a lot of them. Patrick Mahomes, man, he's just a different being. And a lot of people, being from Chicago, there was the conversations of thinking that he was a possibility to be the next quarterback in Chicago. It didn't happen. He landed in the right spot, and I think that's some of the reason why he's super successful, because it's the perfect spot for him. He's got great coaches around him. What did you see in him when he left out of Texas Tech to see that he was going to be this special?
Well, people misjudged him because Texas Tech was usually behind in games, so he was under pressure to score every single play. And so they thought, well, he's a gunslinger, he's in an air raid offense and all the rest of it, but he's got a freakish arm. He's got all the personality qualities that you look for in a leader. He's really bright. But what I look for is what happens in a time of crisis. What does the player do? You've thrown a couple interceptions. The crowd is booing. The center's looking at the quarterback like he's on hallucinogens. The game's getting at hand. Now what do? Can you elevate your level of play, compartmentalize, adopt a quiet mind, tune it all out, and elevate your level of play in critical circumstances? And I saw he had that.
So are you scouting guys early on, like freshman, sophomore years, and going, I'm going to identify, that's a guy I've identified as somebody I want?
I have a younger partner, Chris Cabot, who does most of that scouting. All I need is a list from teams about who the best players are. Then, because our practice involves role modeling, we look for people that will retrace their roots to the high school community, help set up a scholarship fund or church or Boys and Girls Club, then go back and repay their scholarship and endow one for younger players. And then at the pro level, do things like our former client Warwick Dunn did, where he put the 175th single mother and their family in the first home they'll ever own by making the down payment and moving a family into it. So you're looking for that quality of player. Also someone who's not self-absorbed, right? Who can, who understands that some of this is transient and ephemeral and won't last.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how things are kind of change. And I think about this. I know you have to be super excited for Patrick to have this opportunity, but also too, the guy on the other side, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, we're talking about this new age quarterbacks are coming in. The Brady's, their decisions need to be made, and Drew Brees. But this young group of quarterbacks that are coming in, it just shows that the quarterback position in the NFL is really strong right now with some of these young guys.
One of the things that happens is that in previous days you couldn't spot a quarterback maybe till his last year of college because the field had not slowed down for him. Now you have 13 and 14-year-olds whose parents are hiring quarterback tutors for them who are playing in 7-on-7. So when you look at the reason you have Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson and Carson Wentz and this whole new crop is they got spotted early and were focused on being a quarterback, and they come into the league with much more training than their predecessors did.
And also, too, it seems like the offenses are more designed for them in college, these spreads and how they're running them, and we're starting to see that like come into the NFL as well. It's taking over the NFL. It's more pass-happy than running the football anymore.
Well, it's that way, but the other thing is Patrick had the beauty of learning behind Alex Smith for a year, so he didn't start his first year. And on the whole, like this year we have Tua Tagovailoa. I'd much rather see them sit for a year. Now they want to play, but I'd much rather see them. And Alex Smith was kind to Patrick and helped him. He could have just been competitive.
I know you hear some stories, but do you ever have any say with a team on how they're managed or how they're played?
You can have input as long as you do it quietly behind the scenes. So it's always been in my interest, whether it was Troy Aikman or Warren Moon or Steve Young or Bledsoe or Mark Brunell, to have as strong a supporting cast, because this is the ultimate. Quarterback greatness is judged by the ability to take a team to and through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. So you're heavily motivated to help those teams.
So Tua had the injury last year, and I'm sure that'll be the conversation and the thing that teams have to think about going into the draft. How do you convince them that this is the guy you want, even if it's at 3 or 4 or 2?
They don't get injured playing croquet, or at Club Med. Football encompasses injury, and so a good chunk of the people that will be draftees have injuries. So Tua is already walking without crutches. Freakish bodies. You couldn't play that game without having pain tolerance and rehabilitative ability. I mean, if I went out and got hit once, I'd be in bed for 2 weeks. So he's coming along, and I'm sure he'll be able to showcase in time for the scouts to see him.
The final injury that knocked him out for the season was bad, but if you go back and you watched him and you studied him, you followed him, he played hurt a lot. He's super, super tough, and he's a leader. You have an opportunity to have Patrick Mahomes, and you have this at Tua who's coming in who is the ultra-competitive guy. To me, in my opinion, you tell me if I'm wrong, the greatest college football player that I've ever seen that did not win a Heisman. And it was those years to be able to see what he was able to do. And I know that's going to be a part of his legacy, but still, this young man, to me, should have had one of those stiff arm trophies in his hand. He didn't, but he'll go down in history as one of the greatest college football players I've ever seen.
He will, and you know, we were there the day he declared, and you should have seen that program. I mean, Nick Saban was in tears, so he's meant a lot to it.
Was he in tears because he didn't have him next year, or just because he was happy for him?
You know, I could not be Kreskin, the mind reader, so I didn't know. I just saw the tears.
As his agent, his representative, what excites you most about him?
It's the way in which he cares about other people, honestly. And in the middle of the worst circumstance, he'll inquire how other people are doing, and he's deflects praise, and he takes blame, and if you like him on the field, you really love him off the field.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Both guys that you have, do you get a chance to talk with their families? Because to me, that's where they learn all this from. Mom and dad, if you know their families, you can see why they're the way they are.
So you meet the family first. The families are the screeners in the agent selection process. You meet the families first, and you may not meet the player. Like, I didn't meet Tua till I'd met with his parents several times, and my younger attorney, Chris Cabot. And you see the values. When we sit down with the Mahomes, you could see they were a faith-based family. They had all these incredible values. They had raised them right. So we're the beneficiary in my role of what parents do, and then we just try to forward it.
So how do you juggle this now? Because you've got Mahomes coming up, and you've got Tua, and obviously you've got other clients as well, but how do you manage so many negotiations that have to go on in a short period of time?
Because it's really not a short period of time. In other words, veteran renegotiations can happen at any time. And because of the salary cap, rookie negotiations are not what they used to be, right, where you had most players out of training camp. And so they spread out over time. And the rookie process and negotiations become really quick because teams offer the most they can offer usually on the first offer.
JB, what you got?
Hey man, I want to. I don't know if we can do this. Can I campaign Lee for Tua and Tampa? Can we do this?
JB, come on,
man. Let's go. I'm staying with this for my friends at WFLA.
Tua to Tampa.
Where do you like Lee for a landing spot realistically for Tua? What are some of the teams? Can you even talk about that?
What will happen is once he's ready to go, teams will fall in love with him. So you actually, through the process, it's not a big surprise on draft day who's taking your player. So look at the teams at the top of the draft. But what makes it difficult is that any team can trade up like Kansas City did for Mahomes.
Yeah.
And so what's going to happen here is getting drafted is an individual team, not saying generically this is a very good player for somebody. It's we have to have this guy. I can specifically visualize him. So that will happen during the scouting process, and we'll see who's excited.
JB,
let's go.
JB, you thought he was really going to answer that question.
Hey, listen.
You were trying to get a sound bite, sir.
Come on, someone's got to have some journalistic integrity here and ask these questions. Jack Doles is
He's
you're like
an
idol. You're like like the man, but I'm sitting here like let's go, Lee. Give me some juice. Give me some answers. Hey, if we want to get weird. Do we want to get weird for a second? Because we could.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really, really weird. and this is just for listen, the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. All right. I wrote a poem. Yeah, we're gonna get weird. Yeah, JP, you're looking at me.
You wrote a poem?
I wrote a poem. Listen to this. I'm gonna make my sales pitch to you for Tampa, Lee, because you know what? This is Big Game Bound. We're having fun today on Radio Row. Are you ready? You ready for my poem, Jack?
Let's hear it.
Let's do it. Before we lose you, and you can give me your review of my poem, because poetry runs my family. You guys, you ready? Mr. Steinberg. Welcome to Big Game Bound. Our show has it all, even this poem, as ridiculous as it might sound. I'm launching a campaign, and it's not for president. It's for your client, Tua, your former Alabama resident. For the Tampa Bay Bucks, this past decade has been the lamest. A starving fan base with a message loud and clear: no more Jameis. Tua in Tampa, Lee, you got to admit, it's got a nice ring to it. Bruce Arians, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and perhaps that aloha spirit. If this poetic prophecy comes true, it started right here, Jack and JP. And I expect an invite to one of your famous parties where I can buy these guys a beer. Oh, that didn't rhyme. Hey, in closing, Lee, the truth is, let's face it, the Bucks have a QB to hire. Tua in Tampa, let's make it happen. Please, oh please, Jerry Maguire.
That is awesome.
Let's go. Let's go.
one-
We're going to start a campaign.
2 thumbs up.
I have
That
one
is-
question.
Yeah.
Do you know who Jameis Winston's agent is?
Oh, no, I Googled it 5 minutes ago
Okay,
just to
all
make
right.
sure. It's not you, right, Lee?
Okay, good. We're all good. We're all good here.
That's my pitch on behalf of everybody in Tampa Bay. But Lee Steinberg, everybody, incredible. Thank you so
Thank you,
much
sir.
for joining the show.
I need a copy of that.
I'm going to get it to you.
That
Yeah,
is
my-
awesome, man.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you,
Great
sir.
to have you.
My pleasure.
Pleasure. Man,
JB the
JB
poet.
just stole the show,
Guys,
man.
guys,
He's going viral.
Yeah,
after
let me
this.
pop me up on camera. I couldn't sleep last night, so.
I know you couldn't. I
Hey,
mean,
listen, I like.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you, if you have a poem for our next guest, then I'm done.
Shout out to my grandmother Natalie Saffer. A thank you very much, Lee. A nationally renowned poet. So runs in the family. Just a little bit of fun. I'm not a great poet,
That
you
was
guys,
awesome,
but let's
man.
have some fun.
I thought he was going to rock us with a roses
Yeah,
are
you
red,
know, when he
violets
said
are
weird, I
blue,
thought he
we
was
want
gonna-
Tua and Tampa too.
I thought he was going to like shut off the lights and
No,
everything.
no.
And
The line was, I misread the line. Tua and Tampa Lee, you got to admit, has a nice ring to it. Bruce Arians, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and perhaps that aloha spirit. If this poetic prophecy comes true, it started right here. And I expect an invite to one of your famous parties where I can buy Jarrett and Jack a beer.
So
There it
we
is.
gotta,
well,
give him a
yeah,
little finger
just
snap.
finger snap. I actually have an invite, so I will. If it happens, we will go. You'll come with me next year.
Oh, man, I love
Let's
it, you
go.
guys. Having fun here on Radio Row. Jack Doles, Jarrett Payton, you guys are legends in your respective arenas, man.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be here.
No, I'm honored to be here with you, man. You're here at the break of dawn. The lights weren't even on, and you were here.
Speaking of big names, everybody, I think we're
Listen.
sitting down with another one right here, everybody, on Big Game Bound.
Jeff Garcia's in the building, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we had so much history together either until I started reading up. And I was thinking, I was like, holy cow. CFL. I played with the Montreal Alouettes and I played in Toronto. So just knowing what that game means and knowing your game, remembering your game, you were perfect for that game up there, especially right now in the game of how spread out it is, man. It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you look at my opportunity coming out of college, it wasn't in the NFL. Nobody thought I could play in this league down south, but Calgary gave me an opportunity up in the north area to go up there and play in the Canadian Football League, and you're right, that game was suited to me to be able to be mobile, to be active, and maybe I was a little ahead of the game now in the NFL because that's what they want their quarterbacks to be. They want them to be able to move, to be able to get outside the pocket, to be able to extend plays when necessary. And, I was fortunate to have the career that I had, and so thankful for my opportunity in Canada, in the Canadian Football League with Calgary. Meant the world to me, and it gave me that chance to continue to develop, grow, to where when that transition did take place, I was ready for it.
Led to 12 years in the NFL with 7 different teams, including the 49ers. Let's talk about this matchup, and I know you're doing some work for NBC Bay Area as an analyst. Who do you like first?
And not just because I'm biased, I do like the 49ers because of how they're built. It's not just a team that comes in with just a high-powered, high-flying offense. Hey, they're a defensive-minded football team. They play great team defense. They're able to run the football, but that's not their identity, so to speak. They're very balanced. It hasn't shown the last 2 weeks because they haven't had to throw the football, but they're very capable of utilizing the passing game. They do a tremendous job of the screen game, getting the ball out quickly, the play action, the movement, which we haven't even seen, and Kyle's been able to keep that in his back pocket to bring it out come this Sunday. I think that they're a very well-balanced team all around. They play good special teams, great defensive football, great offensive football. That's why I see them having the edge this weekend.
Yeah, it's amazing to listen to Jimmy talk, and I was listening to some audio, and he was just saying how from the moment that he put on his 49ers jersey, he knew that there was something special that was brewing in the Bay Area. And then when Kyle comes and puts it all together, it all starts to make sense. You can have the players, but to me, I know everybody wants to look at the players. If your head coach is not right, doesn't have the vision, it seems like everybody's believing in what he's selling, and that's another big reason why they're here for this big game.
Absolutely, and you see a team that comes in very unselfish. You see a lot of these players who are on the cusp of being elite-type players, like a Bosa on the defensive side, like Kittle on the offensive side, who can be like, man, I need to get my hands on the ball. I'm not getting enough touches. But no, he's like, hey, if we're running the football and I'm blasting that DN or that linebacker, that corner, I love it. I want to do more of it. And you see that being contagious. Emmanuel Sanders is like, man, I love just making that block so Mostert sprung for that 30-yard touchdown. Guys are getting that energy, that unselfishness where they're playing for each other.
The first guy to tell me real quick, Jack, talking to Robbie Gould used to be in Chicago, that was the first thing that he mentioned when I asked him what it was like to be back. He said, I'm the older guy now. I'm the vet. I've been here before, back here for the second time in Miami trying to win a Super Bowl. I'm being a mentor to these guys. He said, but JP, the one thing that I love, nobody is selfish on there. Everybody's unselfish. We just want to win together as a team. I've been on a championship team in college. That's what it took. Not worrying about stats, but having guys that are big-name guys that can make plays that say, listen, whatever it takes to win, I'm all in.
Absolutely. No, it's fun to watch.
How much does that unselfishness grow with each win when you're in the midst of a run?
It's absolutely contagious, man. I think when you see that what you're doing, what you collectively are doing and bringing together on the field, and it's paying off in wins. I mean, you look at this team 4-12 last year, and I watched the last 2 seasons of them go through these growing pains, and they were a young team trying to find themselves. They were suiting up guys coming right off the street because of injury issues. But you know what? This team never gave up. You could see that even though they were struggling to find wins, they were competitive. They were staying in games. They just didn't have that nudge to take them over the top. Obviously, key additions this year, D Ford as a free agent signing, Bosa at the other side on the edge. What that's done for this defense who maybe was looked at last year. First of all, they couldn't get a turnover. They couldn't stop the passing game. They couldn't do any of that. Well, now you got guys breathing down the quarterback's neck. He's forced to get the ball out quicker. Now you're forcing turnovers. You're forcing great defensive play. Coverage doesn't have to happen as long. So a lot of things have fallen into place. They've stayed healthy for the most part. They've gotten healthier as the season has come to this point, and they're fun to watch.
Because we had you as a quarterback as a guest today, our topic of the day, which quarterback has to play better, have the bigger game for his team to win in the Super Bowl?
I think it falls more upon Mahomes than it does Jimmy. And even though Jimmy hasn't been challenged the last couple weeks, and he's going to be challenged differently in this game, but I think Mahomes facing the 49er defense, and I'm not saying, I mean, what we have seen the last 2 weeks out of Kansas City's offense has been awesome. But you know what? I think people discount how good the 49er offense has been through their balance of play. 3 running backs that they've rotated in. Every receiver, tight end being involved in the game. They averaged nearly 30 points a game during the season. They were second in the league in scoring. Kansas City was 5th in the league in scoring. Now, we've seen what Kansas City has done the last 2 weeks, but we've also seen what San Francisco has been able to do, and they've been dominant on the field in all aspects of the game. And so I think when it comes down to that, their balance is going to play into their hands, and that's where Mahomes is going to have to be a beast.
All right.
And he is. He is a beast.
I was saying I went with Garoppolo, but since we have a quarterback here, I got to ask him. The tight end is a quarterback's best friend. It's like a safety blanket. What would you like to have both of these guys that are going to be matching up with Kittle and Kelsey in this matchup on Sunday?
Yeah, I love Kittle. I love what he does. I mean, they're both awesome players. I mean, and they both take tremendous pride not only in being great receivers but being great blockers as well. And, what Kittle does from an offensive standpoint, how he sets the edge as a tight end, as an additional offensive lineman, the emotion and intensity that he brings to the field. You see that in the huddle and how he just has this passion, this fire that he wants to just ignite and light up somebody on the other side of the ball, whether he's carrying it or getting a hit. He just, and that's why, to me, you got to get him involved early in the game. Whether it's a little screen pass, even they've handed him off a little fly sweep. Get the ball in his hands so he can punish someone, because everybody else thrives off of it.
I wanted to ask you that because as soon as you brought up these two tight ends, Jarrett, the first thing I thought of was just how wildly emotional they are on the field.
Both of them.
You just see them throwing their fists all over the place and fired up after making a big play or planting somebody in the ground. How do you guys feed off of that when you see another player like that with that mentality?
I love that. I mean, I was a guy who really relied on my emotions to drive me and just have that, I was like the little train, little engine that could, I was like, you're going to tell me I'm not big enough, I'm not this, I can't do it. I'm going to show you, man. I should have been a defensive player. I just wasn't good enough. So I had to stay on the offensive side. But that was my mentality. And I love seeing those guys with the energy, with the enthusiasm, with the passion to just knock people out. And it fuels everybody's fire.
I can only imagine what it was like to be in a defensive guy or even an offensive line to see you as fired up as you would get. That would make me want to run through a wall. Go ahead, Jack.
All right, Jeff's our guest here, Jeff Garcia. He returns to Radio Row this year promoting health, wellness, pain management, and recovery with Athletes Preferred. What can you tell us about that?
AthletesPreferred.com. We're a product that is bringing CBD. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that are talking about the benefits of CBD and how it helps you physically and mentally. I think as athletes, going through that transition of playing the game for so long, knowing how it took a toll on not only our bodies physically, but also our mind, the mental issues that we deal with in the transition. I mean, there are bouts of depression, there's bouts of anxiety, how people deal with that next part of their life. Mm-hmm. I've had to deal with that. I've been fortunate enough to get together with Tammy Truman, who's our leader at AthletesPreferred.com. She's educated me, and I think that's what people need to be educated on, is that the fact that this is not from marijuana. It's not going to make you high. It's from a hemp plant. It's completely natural. It benefits your body in so many different ways, as far as pain recovery, as far as brain protectant, all those things neurologically that it can do for you. And hopefully the NFL will open their eyes to some of the benefits that these products can bring to their players currently.
You played with the Lions, and I know there was a big story with Calvin Johnson after he retired. Another guy that left the Lions a little sooner than people had hoped he would. But he talked about what he did to manage the pain. Does any of that surprise you when you see what guys are doing?
It doesn't. I mean, you put your body through a tremendous amount of torture, rigorous pain that you're dealing with at times, some more so than others. And to see or hear what athletes have tried to do in order to get themselves back in the right frame of mind to compete at that level, knowing what's expected out of them, they're going to push the boundaries. They're going to push the envelope a little bit. And you would hope that they do it the right way, but sometimes the right way isn't paying off the benefits that you need right now. It's an immediate gratification or immediate need that you're trying to seek.
Jeff, you know, being in locker rooms, the toughest thing is being on the sidelines. If you're missing out on an opportunity to be in the game, it's either you're losing out on money or someone's going to take your spot. I mean, that's the way you think as a football player. It's always been in my mind as well. So the fact that we're seeing more and more guys like yourself that are promoting stuff like this to be able to help these players currently and the guys that have retired as well just goes to show your heart's in the right place.
Absolutely. It's all about giving back and making people aware that there is a way that's a positive way that can potentially help benefit you. It's not for everyone, but hey, why not give it a try? It's not going to hurt you.
12 years in the NFL, you took a lot of hits. Why did you keep going back? Why put yourself in that position?
I'd still go back, man. Let's go. Give me an opportunity. Hey, I'm the last guy to lead Tampa Bay to a damn playoff game. Let's go. Let's go.
JB, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming from you, sir.
Hey, man.
I guess that would be the last time they won an NFC South title then too, right?
Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
You got it.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Pleasure,
Appreciate it.
Not exactly hiding my bias here on Radio Row. I was talking about journalistic integrity earlier. You guys are keeping it, pretty even in the middle there. Meanwhile, here I am, like, go Bucks! Wow. Jeff, hey, great having you on. Are we ready? Are we ready to do this, you guys? Are we ready? Because I'm feeling really good about our next segment here, everybody, on Big Game Bound. Let me just make sure that we are switching things over because I want to make sure that we are reaching all of our stations here in upstate New York. We are talking Buffalo Bills, everybody. Let's do it. JB Buno, Jack Doles, Jarrett Payton here on Big Game Bound. Guys, we're talking the 2019 Buffalo Bills season. Ended in heartbreak, but wow. Really perhaps the surprise team in the playoffs that, my goodness, they had a really good regular season, guys. We're talking about 10-6, finishing second in the AFC East. Big shout out to GM Brandon Beane and head coach Sean McDermott. A team that doesn't necessarily have a ton of star talent on there, but still 10-6 in the AFC East, putting together some really good games. Your thoughts on how we keep the Bills train on the tracks, building on this momentum, having a good offseason, and getting back to the playoffs next year and going deeper in the playoffs next year.
All right, JB. Listen, you know me. I'm a running back. Devin Singletary, you got to love what they did, being able to have a guy like that. And, Frank Gore is my buddy from the U. He was serviceable for them at times. But I think one of their biggest needs is to try to figure out how to get another running back. They need a 1-2 punch. We've seen it around the NFL. That's what works the most. You never have a guy that's the bell cow unless you're looking at the situation, especially down the stretch of looking at a guy in Tennessee and running the football like Derrick Henry. But nowadays in this modern-day NFL, you got to have multiple guys and multiple backs. They need to find another guy that complements him. That could be right there helping out Josh Allen down the stretch.
That was a really good pickup with Singletary.
Yeah.
How do these guys find these guys?
I think just by going through and doing your homework, you have to be able to watch film. If you're not watching film, you're not seeing what guys are doing, seeing the trends, then you're going to miss out on guys. And sometimes at the position, it's totally different now than it used to be back in the day. You can go find a running back. You can even find running backs 3rd, 4th round, 5th round, guys that could be serviceable because of the lifespan of a running back is not that long in the NFL anymore.
So you're doing your homework. You're a GM. You know way more about this than I do. What are you looking for on film when you're doing your homework? What is it that catches your eye? That's a good running back.
Vision and his feet, his path to the hole, and also his vision, his ability to be able to get to a place and maybe it might not be there, but be able to jump cup and bring it back. But also discipline in running, especially stretch runs. If you can run a stretch play and you can be disciplined of getting to the tight end or the butt of a ghost tight end and then making a chance in a read, then right there that shows me discipline. But I want to see a guy that cannot basically do everything. The throwback running back. Not just run the football anymore. Can you catch out of the backfield? Can you pass block? Those things right there, that gives you an opportunity to have a good RB in your backfield.
Now, JB, can you go back to that shot?
Yeah, I can.
Here we are talking about the Buffalo Bills, and we got a Bills fan.
We got a Bills fan.
Hey, watching
in Radio Row.
Yes.
He's a big Singletary
We're saying they need another running back, though, to complement him as well. That's going to help out. And then when you have those, it helps out your quarterback as well. And you got Josh Allen going into his third year. You want to be able to protect him as much as possible, take it off of him, and also give some balance to your offense.
I'm gonna propose a crazy question for you guys, Jack. This has been the Patriots division for a long time. 12-4 last year. They were first in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills 10-6. You already know what I'm going to ask because you're already shaking your head.
I'm not shaking my head no at you, but ask the question.
Could the Bills take it next year? Could they take the AFC East and dethrone the Patriots finally?
Yes. It's not crazy, JB.
Is Tom Brady the quarterback?
That's a big question.
What you mean in New England? Even if he is, even if he is, they don't have enough offensively right now. I don't think so. So yes, we're talking about it. I also think that this team has got to figure out Cole Beasley and Brown, the other receiver. Both those guys are good compliments that they brought in, but you also have to have another receiver. So they need a third guy, and if you can find a third guy, whether that's you can find it in free agency, but you're better off getting a top-name guy in the draft and figuring that out. Now you have a three-headed monster at the wide receiver position as well.
Well, I know you wanted another running back. How high in this draft would you go, and is there somebody that really has caught your eye?
No, I wouldn't go that high. I would wait till some of the later rounds. If you're talking about third, fourth round to get your running back, because unless you have a super stud, which I don't know if there's a super stud that you would go get in the first round. And we see running backs don't go in the first round that often anymore. Wait till the later rounds where you can get a guy that is going to be serviceable and also hopefully have an opportunity to be special.
I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Last time the Bills won the AFC East. Whoa. Guys, we're laughing, but listen, if you're joining us from upstate New York, if you're a Bills fan, I have a lot of friends that are diehard Bills fans. Guys, the drought might finally be coming to a close, but what would your guess be? Because I have it here on my screen.
Was Jim Kelly the quarterback?
It's got to be
let's see.
90s, right?
It's 90s.
It's 90s. It got
1995. Very good, JP.
I knew it was around that. It was the middle there.
Redeeming yourself after the performance yesterday with guessing on the auctions. I'm loving it.
I should have bet $500,000. I could have won something.
So the Bills. The Bills, yeah, I mean, they've been floating in mediocrity, but you're saying that perhaps they're just a couple of pieces away, or maybe losing Tom Brady is exactly what they need, or the Patriots losing Tom Brady is exactly what they need to get them over the hump. But what do they need? What are they looking for in the opening rounds of the NFL draft to get there?
First thing I want to say is I think they did pretty well on that quarterback pick with
Yes.
Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, I was a little skeptical at first.
Yeah.
But I loved the development I saw. A lot of times you see a guy that might step in year one and he's something, and then you see a little regression in year two. He got better, and that's a really good sign.
David Deal was talking about it. Quarterbacks that can anticipate throws. That's what you want. And he's a big frame quarterback.
Yep.
I saw this guy Josh Allen jump over a guy standing up straight.
There's a shot of it here coming up.
It's unbelievable. That's what you want. And to see him kind of get better and better, that's what every team is hoping for. I didn't have a lot of faith in him coming into the league, but now I've been behind him this season, seeing his growth. They might have something special in putting some more pieces around him.
And they love him in upstate New York. He's charismatic on the microphone. I know that might sound like a small thing, but they love him.
Yeah, let's not forget, they could be losing Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips in free agency, so they're going to have to find a way to get that defensive line back on track as well. And I know Bills fans, they don't want to spend some crazy money, so you're not going to spend $50-60 million on that position, but maybe it's in the draft. I'm not sure where you get a guy because I don't know names right now, but I'm just saying that this is what Bills fans have to start thinking about. If that's the case, you lose guys like that from your squad.
Let me ask you this. We saw it many years ago with Shady McCoy luring free agents to Buffalo. There's some free agents that just don't want to go to Buffalo. It's not the sexy destination that even Miami is. I think that if you polled NFL players, that there would be people that would be like, hey, take me to right here to Miami, Florida, over going to the tundra that is Buffalo, New York. As far as getting free agents, JP, I mean, and yeah, because you're talking about it money-wise. Again, not a sexy destination. What do you do, Jack?
But is it easier when you've got a team that looks like it could be on the cusp, that's ready for a breakthrough?
Ooh, yup, on the money.
Jack,
on the money.
You want
Jack
a ring,
just,
right?
Yeah,
Jack
man.
just hit it. He hit it on the head, man. We just talked about it, you guys. It's perfect. What's going to happen with the Patriots? There's a big question mark there. with the Tom Brady situation, everything there, this could be this could be it. This could be their opportunity. It just takes two guys to see that there's something special brewing, that they feel it. You got to walk into the facility, and I think that's where guys feel it. Do they see all the other stuff? Not just the players and the opportunity. The facilities are another thing. They want to see. I mean, it's tough. People would rather come to Miami, but if you have an opportunity to win, you see something special in a young and upcoming quarterback, maybe take an opportunity there.
And here's another question, too. Does Tom Brady give New England another hometown discount like he has? I probably will if he stays.
He's the big X factor in this, right, Jack?
Right.
I mean, he really is.
Because if he doesn't, then all of a sudden there's a lot of money that goes away for those other positions that have funneled down for them to be able to bring in guys.
Guys, this is not it's not the same Patriots squad as we're accustomed to thinking. It's not the same. You remember when Mike Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas?
Oh, my God!
It changed your life. You were like, holy cow, he could actually lose. This is totally different now.
Love the boxing reference, by the way.
I know you did.
But wow, this is a big proclamation from our boy Jared Payton
huge,
here
man.
on Big Game Bound, man.
Huge.
You are prophesizing the closing of the Patriots dynasty pretty much right here, right now. That's what you're thinking.
I want to go back to this boxing thing because one of the first fights Mike Tyson had after he got out of prison was against Buster Mathis Jr., a heavyweight from Grand Rapids. And I was at that fight. It was in Philadelphia. And the swing and miss punches, the ones that he missed on, drew almost as many oohs and ahs.
Yeah.
That was an amazing person to watch in the ring.
And guess what? The Patriots been swinging and swinging. But guess what? They don't got enough on offense, definitely. And Tom is not getting you. You would have to have some big-name receivers and to take advantage of an opportunity for them to get back to the big game.
And real quick, while we're talking about Brady.
Fighting for wild card spots.
While we're talking about Brady.
They're fighting for wild card spots now.
Wow, look at JP right now.
They're fighting for wild card spots. They're not used to that.
Oh, my goodness. Hashtag this on Twitter right now. Man, Patriots Nation not going to be loving this. But I'll tell you what. You might be onto something. Real quick, while we're talking about Tom Brady, Jack and Jarrett, any chance, even as minute as it might be, that he's wearing a Charger uniform next year?
Yes.
Ooh,
Makes sense.
That's hey, Brady said it himself, right? A couple of weeks ago, he said, hey, he pretty much said something to the effect of, I'm okay signing elsewhere. I'm going to keep my options open, which probably just set off every fire alarm in New England that exists.
L.A., they got to sell seats in that new stadium.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do it. Tom Brady would work wonders to the ticket office. The phone would be ringing off the hook for season tickets. It's where like the home of the NFL, the whole compound that they have around there. To me, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a warm area for him to hang out.
From California.
Yeah, come on, man.
Homecoming. Jay Glazer, real quick, said Phillip Rivers is out last night. That was his big report, was that Phillip Rivers, there's no way he's going to be back in San Diego. That door looks like it's closing, and just going to, again, throw it out there that Phillip Rivers might be interested in playing in the Tampa Bay area. That would be really interesting. We're not going to get into that mess right now, but my God, Brady and a Charger. Jack, could you see that? Could you picture it in your head?
Oh, I can picture it in my head. But here's the question I have, Jared, is at this stage in his career, how does it work with a new coach and a new system? How motivated are you to learn just an entirely new system when right now you've got this encyclopedic knowledge and you know everything of what you're doing now?
If you're getting Tom Brady, you're gonna change some things around of your scheme and what you do to suit what he does well. If you're gonna get the GOAT, I think what JB was saying is a little interesting because he said, "Could you see him in a Chargers jersey?" Well, it was hard for me to see Joe Montana go to a KC jersey. I never saw that one coming. I'm thinking he's going to be a 49er for life. It doesn't happen that way anymore. So I could see it happening.
And remember with Peyton Manning, no one ever envisioned he could be gone out of Indianapolis, right? I mean, and then goes to Denver, does great things. Yeah. But does Brady have multiple seasons left in him, just like Manning did at that stage in his career?
If he's going to play, he's going to play to win, but I don't know if championships should be on his mind first and foremost wherever he goes.
Well, there's one player I'm really glad never changed uniforms, And that was Walter Payton.
Yes.
He was a Bear, and that's it.
Actually, probably could have though. He
sure
probably
he
could
could
have, but wanted to only wear one jersey. I know I've had that
love that.
conversation with him. So probably thought he had like 3 or 4 years left in him, but decided to hang it up because, things in Chicago, things were changing. Neil Anderson was there. If you remember that time. So
we might have to talk about this off stream.
We can't.
But I want to bring up one point on this topic that I'm passionate about. I think that when a player does stay in one jersey for their whole career, that might not be special to NFL executives or to fans. Derek Jeter in a Yankee uniform. We just lost Kobe Bryant. In a Laker uniform, staying your entire career. It means something to those fans when you hold that jersey in your hand, your dad's jersey, holding that in your hand and knowing that he never wore anything but a Chicago Bear uniform. That's special.
On the show today, we had a guy that moved around to a bunch of teams like Jeff Garcia.
Yep.
David Deal, one jersey.
Giant.
Yeah. A giant.
Yep.
So, I mean.
And doesn't make Garcia's career any less special.
But it's just, it says something about being able to be with one organization for your entire career.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's that bond,
Yeah.
and he'll have
Yep.
David Deal will have that in New York the rest of his life. The Payton family will have it in Chicago as long as they're around. And Jeff Garcia, he's got a lot of different homes, but I'm guaranteeing he's thinking better thoughts about San Francisco than some of the days in Detroit.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I've heard a lot of Tampa Bay references today,
Oh
though.
man, I gotta
Thanks
come.
a lot, JB.
I gotta come down.
No. I actually like him. Yeah, I like him. The Tua thing is cool because that would be an awesome get for Tampa. So I understand.
They are sick of Jameis over there in
I
Tampa
know.
Bay, and I know that Arians probably wants to consider the option of bringing Jameis back again, but the fans there they're tired of it. But hey. We've talked a lot about my team today. We're talking a whole lot about this guy's team tomorrow. Our team focus segments, guess where it's heading tomorrow, everybody? Jack? Chicago.
Yeah.
Woo, we're talking Bears football tomorrow.
Windy City, Chicago Bears.
Man, look at
On
that.
the stream.
Bring it up, full
On
screen.
the stream. We are talking
Boom.
Bears tomorrow, baby. We are talking Bears tomorrow.
Just a little preview. I mean, going into this season, Chicago was on a lot of lists of people thinking this could win a Super Bowl.
Jack.
Went
My
a
list.
different direction.
Jack,
Can they
I
win?
love them.
Jack, they're going to have to tune in tomorrow to get that information.
Look at that
is
tease.
the ultimate tease.
Professional tease.
You got to. That's a must.
JB?
A lot of love,
Close us
you
out.
guys. Man,
Close us out, man.
having fun here on Radio Row. Jarrett Payton, Jack Doles, man, loving it. I'm JB Buno, everybody. That does it for this edition of Big Game Bound. Every day gets closer to Super Bowl Sunday. We are Big Game Bound every day. You see these tables here on Radio Row. Take a look. You see them. They're getting more filled. We're seeing more big names. We're seeing more recognizable faces. The celebrities, the former players, the agents, they're all here. We're going to be interviewing them. Come join us. 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 Central, right here on Big Game Bound. It's all magic happening, everybody. I'm going to hit the button for JB Buno, me, Jack Doles, Jarrett Payton. Thanks so much for watching. Next Star Nation, whole lot of love.
Mr. Wizard.